Well, Paul, I feel like a lot of your movies, they really put us in the moment. This one is about the moment, but it's a 2.5-hour movie, and the attack is done in like the first 45 minutes. This movie is really about the aftermath, about what happens after the moment.
Yes, yeah.
Was that something that appealed to you when you...
Definitely, that was the idea. I wanted to make a film about how Norway responded to a right-wing terrorist attack, how Norway fought for democracy, because I think that's, first of all, an inspiring story. I think it's a story of our times, because this unprecedented shift to the far right is occurring today. It's right in front of our eyes. It's a problem across Europe and across North America. As I say, it's unprecedented, and we are going to have to learn, particularly young people, I think, to fight for the democratic way, to fight for a civilized society in the face of this right-wing threat. And I felt that the story of how Norway fought for her democracy in 2011 was obviously a local story, but I think also a global story.
Is there ever a sense, Paul, you're not Norwegian, you weren't part of, you know, I mean, I'm sure you were aware of it, as we all were, but not to a real degree. Was there ever a sense of, you know, should I really go in there and make a film about this horrible event?
Definitely, yes. Of course, I had to think about it very carefully. I mean, I remember, you know, I was trying to find a way of addressing this shift to the right and what it meant, and what it meant for my children. And you know, as a filmmaker, you're trying to find ways of holding a mirror up to the world. Then there was a moment when I became interested in this story, and I read Breivik's testimony in court. And that was really the moment for me when I knew I wanted to make this film, because reading his testimony, part of which we show in the film, where he talks about the elites and the sham of democracy and all the rest of it, in 2011 that would have been considered outrageous, you know, as a worldview. Today it's entirely mainstream. The Breivik's actions, of course, not. I mean, I'm not saying that. But his rhetoric, his worldview now is mainstream. That shows you how dramatic and ongoing this shift to the right, towards nativism, nationalism, and all the rest of it. And so I wanted to make the film, but then you've got to go and ask the families and ask them for permission, essentially. And then it became, you know, teaming up with Usna. And then it was, for me as a filmmaker, the ground rules were clear. I don't speak Norwegian, but I wanted the film to have a Norwegian soul, so it became, I'm going to make it in Norway with a Norwegian cast and crew. And that was, just setting aside for a moment the subject of the film, that was the richness for me of the experience, because I didn't know any of Norway's actors and technicians, but the depth of talent there, as I think is abundantly clear in this film, these wonderful performances, and that really made it a very blessed experience from my point of view as a filmmaker.